Hello and welcome to the walk-off, everybody. What a wild game yesterday was. The Blue Jays pulling out a close one there, Matt. 12-10 and putting the bullpen to work.
Yeah, that was a crazy game.
It
The
was
offense
not.
was rolling. The bullpen had it together, and I was very happy with that. We talked about that in Patreon. Varlin had it great. Hoffman's velo was there.
hmm
It's
Dylan Tate got
that was
his
surprising
first
to me.
outing and looked good. It was everything that you could hope for out of the bullpen for the most part. And Eric Lauer, despite the fact giving up some runs, did what he had to do. And I know I kind of touched on this in Patreon, but honestly, when you have a lead like the Blue Jays had yesterday, I would way rather a guy come in there and just throw strikes. If he gives up some dingers and he gives up some hits, I would far prefer that than picking around the corners, putting guys on and then allowing a 3-run home run, right? It seems like more of a dagger than forcing a team to get 5 hits to score runs, right? So,
Yeah, he attacked no freebies, I believe.
yeah,
Good like even though it was even
not his
though
sharpest outing,
Yeah.
obviously,
5 hits, 2 runs, 50 pitches over two and a third. Not his best outing, but
but he came
I'll
in and
take
did what
it.
he had to do, right?
For the situation that it was, it's a good outing.
This is a Monday morning mailbag on a Tuesday afternoon, done on a Wednesday in true walk-off fashion. Every single week, we dive through your interactions. We pick out the questions and comments that we can, and we answer as many of them as possible. You can always reach out on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast. Blue Sky, we're on as well, the Walk Off Podcast. Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast. If you are a Patreon member, well, first of all, a tip of the hat your way. We could not run the channel without you, so thank you so much. You also get that automatic entry into the mailbag. So any question or comment you have, we are forced to answer these questions for you. You also get instant access to all of our interviews, and then as if that's not enough, MLB Mondays, bonus content every single Monday, and that's going to cost you $4 a month. Again, to all the people who are already in Patreon, we really appreciate it. And if you've been thinking about it and want to jump on board, well, here's a little sweetener for you. If you are not in Toronto and still want to catch these baseball towns, well, this is your way to do so. You can join Patreon, and then once a month when we do the baseball towns, we are going to put them up on Patreon. Speaking of baseball town, tomorrow night, we've got the big day. That's the final regular season baseball town of the year. We've got Jonah Birnbaum from The Score, Chris Black from Sportsnet. Lucky to have Nick from Blue Jays today on the panel. Nick is going to be filling in for Rob Wong, who wound up getting sick. I know he reached out yesterday, has a brutal cold, and just didn't want to subject everyone to it. So feel better soon, Rob. We'll get you on another time. And big shout out to Nick for stepping in. Really excited about this one. Again, if you want us to if you want to just see a live version of basically the roundtables we ran, this is how you do it. So, Left Field Brewing, Liberty Village, baseball is the code to get you 20% off. Tickets are available in the link or the description and the comment section. All right, on that. Let's dive in here, Matt. I'm Scott Belford, normally joined by Adam Mack. He is still on his hiatus. We should hopefully have more news on exactly what's going on with Adam here by next week. That is the dream. And in the meantime, Matt, you've done a fantastic job filling in. So thank you very much again. Going from intern to co-host, no small duty, no easy duty, but you're doing it well.
Oh, thanks, Scott. I'm always happy to do this. It's been a lot of fun.
All right, let's start with Patreon. This one is from Jeff. He goes, I love the Dave Stieb episode. Yes, we did release a very special piece of content yesterday, something kind of out of our ordinary. that we do, Matt, right? Like it was not
Yeah.
really the type of content we normally do, but it was very cool. We had the guys from Dave Stieb today. These are two of the biggest Dave Stieb fans you're ever going to find. They are literally fanatical about it. And they came on and broke down his pursuit of his no hitter. Of course, yesterday, September 2nd, was the 35-year anniversary of the lone no-hitter by a Toronto Blue Jay, Dave Stieb, accomplishing that. So if you do want to check that out, please feel free to do so. That's up on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. So he goes, I love the Dave Stieb episode. You know, I've always loved that guy, even though I made him mad at me once in a burger joint at 2 a.m. Jeff actually has a great story about that where he was in Etobicoke. He goes into this burger joint drunk at 2 a.m. and Dave Stieb is there with a couple of the guys from the Blue Jays and he couldn't help but go up to him and be like, "Hey, I love you, man. You're the best." And he was not impressed, but it's a good little story. Anyways, he goes, thoughts on what accolades Springer gets at the end of the year. Is he top five MVP at this point? All-Star DH for sure. He was snubbed in the All-Star game. Comeback player of the year. I think that's a lock.
That's an
He,
easy lock. Yeah.
he goes, if Seattle and New York miss the playoffs, does that raise his ceiling for MVP positioning? Because now it goes to my assertion there should be an MVP and an MOP. Now, MOP, I'm not sure what he means. Most offensive player, maybe? Do you think
That's what
that's
I
what?
was
Yeah.
thinking.
We're gonna go with offensive. There just should be uh there just should because MVP is so subjective. MOP can be big stats like Judge and Raleigh have. MVP can be the more nuanced selection. Just my 2 cents, he says. I kind of like that because MVP is so subjective with like, how are you quantifying value, right? Most valuable
Yeah.
player. Now, are you talking specifically to the team? Because if you're just talking to the team, where would the Toronto Blue Jays be without George Springer? The Toronto Blue Jays are one game back of the best team in the American League. If George Springer was not on this team, holy, would we ever be in big trouble? You know what? Forget that. If this was just 2024 George Springer, this team would be in big trouble. Listen, I'll get Matt to pull up his stats for the year here, but listen to this. This is George Springer over his last 45 games. He has 66 hits, 50 runs, 39 RBIs, 16 dingers, and 9 stolen bases. The only other MLB player to reach all of those numbers over a 45 game span in a single season, Babe Ruth in 1920 and Lou Gehrig in 1931. Like we're talking 100 years back, murderer's row type of stuff that George Springer is doing in 2025. It is absolutely mind blowing the season that this man is having. And if you want to just dig into some of the numbers that aren't batting average and home runs, which Matt will get to in a second here, but just take a look at weighted runs created plus, WRC plus. He's a 162 on the year. That's third in all of baseball. He has an OPS of 946. That's third in all of baseball. He has an OPS plus of 157, good for fifth in baseball. An average of 305. Like that's the thing is he's hitting dingers, he's hitting for power, he's hitting extra base hits. He's also hitting for average, a 305 average on the year and then a slugging percentage of 550, which is good for seventh in all of baseball. The stuff that old man Springer is doing is absolutely incredible. And Matt, I'll throw to you here just for the season totals.
Yeah, and to put it into perspective, I think what best encapsulates his season is probably his home run number. If we were going to say how has he been compared to other years of George Springer, he has the most home runs he's ever had with the Blue Jays. He's 5 RBIs away from his all-time, and this is just with the Blue Jays, from his all-time with the Jays. Best average he's ever had at 305, batting average with the Jays, OPS of 946, His home run number 26, RBIs 71. Strikeouts way down compared from
Yeah.
other years. Last year it was 115, and there is still bits of the season left, but last year 115, this year 87. I don't think he's catching 115.
And he's stealing bases on top of it all.
Yeah, let
He's going
me.
to hit 30 home runs this year, which who in a million years would have predicted?
Yeah, he also in terms of stolen bases, he has the same amount of stolen bases he had last year at 16, four off of his Jays career high of 20. He's putting together easily the best year he's had in the past 4 or 5 years.
Without
And
a doubt, man. Like
and we still
it's
have a
no
month of
argument.
baseball.
Yeah, there's still a month of baseball, and he's being so well balanced in the way he's doing it too. He's good on the base path. He gives the team that speed they like. He is hitting for average. He's putting the ball in play. Great contact rate. Huge OPS. Best, like Matt said, best OPS he's ever had as a Blue Jay by far. And he was no slouch in those first 2 years with the Jays.
Yeah. He's he's pretty much just blowing any numbers we've seen from him in the past out of the water. And he's still going strong.
So
It
this is where I will ask the question to you, Matt, and please, grounds crew, speak up here. Drop your comments. Let us know. Where are you at on George Springer's accolades postseason? To go back to Jeff's question here. Do you think I don't think he has a shot at MVP with Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh, even if the Mariners in New York don't make the playoffs. Although if they don't make the playoffs, that will for sure muddy the waters, right? Because voters love a playoff team. And I mean, we've seen Ohtani and Trout win MVPs without going to the playoffs. It's not like it hasn't happened, but they do tend to lean to teams that are successful and at least get into the playoffs. Where are you at on an MVP for George Springer? Because I think he probably finishes fifth to eighth in voting. I don't think he's gonna crack the top three or anything, which is still incredible.
I would probably say fifth to eighth is probably ideal when you look at it. He's only really tops in, and he's not even the top. He's around the top in average, OBP, slugging, and
Hmm.
OPS,
Hmm.
where he kind of ranges between 1 to 5 for those categories. Judge beats him on a lot of categories. Cal Riley's up there. And the other part of it is we do have to remember MVP can also turn into a popularity contest.
Absolutely, it can.
And if we're going popularity, Cal Riley's done stuff we've never seen a catcher do before. That 100% weighs heavily on voting.
Aaron
Um,
Judge is a Yankee. That weighs heavily on
yeah.
voting. George Springer also gets booed in every stadium he goes to. So the Houston stuff still follows him around. I know it blows my mind anytime that I'm in a visiting ballpark. The crowd is on him steadily, which is pretty wild that that's just something that George Springer has had to deal with since 2017. And I mean, the truth is, you'd think that it would have diminished going to Toronto, and it really hasn't. I mean, Blue Jays fans, we love them, but you put them in almost any other park, and the boos rain down upon them. So, mentally tough. You got to love that. He's had to just come to terms with this is where he's at. And it does make him a little bit more unflappable, in my opinion. Like it's tough for a crowd to get on him and take him off his game. It's just not going to happen. He's been through too much.
Yeah. And going back to the Houston stuff, that will forever, I think for any Houston player in that era, it will forever leave a stain
Hmm.
on their career and on their reputation. No matter how much Toronto loves George Springer, no matter how much Houston loved Carlos Correa,
Yeah.
like it'll always be there in the back of a lot of people's minds.
So sticking with Patreon, we go to Mish. one of our favorites. She's going to be at Baseball Town, as she is at every single baseball town. Nobody is a bigger part of the Blue Jays community at Baseball Town than Mish. She goes, and this is from MLB Mondays. We were just talking about the series against the Brewers. And she goes, we played, and then this is all in capital letters, the best team in baseball, exclamation mark. We didn't get swept. We shone a spotlight on both of our strengths and weaknesses. And now we have 4 weeks to address those before the playoffs postseason. It's all good if you're not swinging from the ledge panicking. And I know that we were talking about this in the preamble a little bit, Matt. Blue Jays fans, this is September baseball. We are in a race. And no shame in you sitting there tugging at your collar a little bit. No shame in being like, you know what? This team has been very good the whole season. There's 4 weeks left. Yeah, there's some defaults. Every team has some problems. I'm going to sit tight and I'm sticking here. And you know what? However you want to go about your business as a baseball fan, mad respect just for anyone who's going to dig their heels in and stick with this season for 162. It's hard on the players, it's hard on us fans, but the fact that there is meaningful baseball being watched by Toronto Blue Jays and Toronto Blue Jays fans in 2025 is a wonderful turn of events in comparison to where we thought we might be at the beginning of the season. Because, Matt, I know when Adam and I were doing predictions, we were definitely looking at this season glass half full, and we're kind of predicting the third wild card spot. And that was our positive take.
Yeah. Well, back in my office when we were when the season started, we were looking at Vegas odds and they had us at 80 wins was the under over.
Hmm.
We were like maybe 84 was what we were saying. So they've blown every expectation out of the water, and kudos to them for doing that and bringing hopefully playoff baseball, but also excitement back to baseball in Canada. Um, I would say I'm kind of on the fence with the Brewers series. Yes, it is still dog days of summer, still tons of time, but it felt like a World Series matchup that was going on, and all three games were winnable. The
Yes.
Jays had the chance in all three games. Bullpen didn't hold up. We didn't have nearly the offense we probably needed, which is it's scary when it's a playoff team, and especially the best team in baseball. It it's gonna
This
be again, it's nerve-wracking, but it's not the end of the world.
And this is a perfect segue for the next comment, which is from Metal Manic. And he goes, it was sweepable from the Brewers' perspective. Had it not been for those few dumb errors and poor base running moments in the final game, I can't see why the Brewers couldn't have taken that final game. Truth.
Yeah.
And that's why baseball is such a funny sport, is that we're a bunch of Blue Jays fans and we're like, man, the Jays could have taken that series. They were so close. It really wasn't that far off from a winnable series. But it's like that Mighty Ducks moment. And this is probably way before your time,
No, I know the
Matt.
Mighty Ducks.
Okay, you're like, no, no, I
I'm
know
a
the
hockey
Mighty
guy. I know
Ducks,
the Mighty
right?
Ducks.
But Emilio Estevez, right, where he's like complaining and he's like, oh man, just another inch to the left and it's a goal. And then the guy's like, yeah, but another inch to the right and it would have messed the net altogether. So, like, that's kind of what we're talking here. Obviously, the Brewers could have swept the Jays. And in the same breath, yeah, the Jays could have won that series had they not face planted in a few areas of their performance. So the way baseball goes. Going to Johnny Eaton. He goes, and another thing, adding IKF instead of a second bullpen arm seems foolish as well. The problem is glaring. It's the bullpen. Extra bodies matter. So, Johnny, just a quick heads up here 28-man roster. September 1st, they expand. So, 26-man roster, expand to 28 on September 1st. You are only allowed 14 pitchers. So that's what the Blue Jays have right now. Once they moved Lauer to the bullpen and brought Dylan Tate in, that's 14 pitchers. They've gone to a five-man rotation now, which I think is great. You want these guys on their regular routine going into the playoffs. And it also, in today's baseball, not having your bullpen fully stacked is probably a disadvantage in a time and era in the game where starters are going less deep and the bullpen is being relied on more. You can kind of wind up handicapping yourself if you go to that six-man rotation. But things seem to be ironed out now. They've got a full bullpen. Lauer looks good as the long man back there. I really do think that that was one of the aspects that this team was lacking, was the ability to bring a guy in from the bullpen who can go 3 or 4 innings, which we watched Lauer do yesterday. It was great. You're not killing 3 arms if you've got a guy who can do that. So it adds depth in the easiest way possible, which is with one guy.
The other thing I'll add on to this is IKF was waivers.
Hmm.
It's not like we're at the trade deadline again. And I don't know off the top of my head, I can't really think of any good bullpen arms that were either on waivers or in free agency. Like, yes, there was Walker Bueller, yes, there was Aaron Savali, but starters,
Yeah,
we don't need more in the rotation. They weren't doing great anyways. So I don't mind. And the other part was we talked about this MLB Mondays is the damage on Ernie Clement's hand and the lingering injury. How much is that affecting the decision of bringing IKF in? But in terms of the bullpen arm, I'm okay with them seeing what their organization has, seeing the kind of depth, keeping it at home. Um, yeah, and it brings guys like Ryan Baracchi
exactly.
back to the
Exactly.
big leagues.
Like they did go out and get a guy in Ryan Baracchi off waivers after Pittsburgh let him go. So, yeah, we'll see how things all play out. Obviously, this bullpen is going to be a morphing, shifting animal over the next 4 weeks as this organization tries its best to figure out to Rubik's Cube this into a good bullpen again. And we'll see how that goes. So, yeah, honestly, I think Johnny may have even made this comment before all of the dust settled and everything kind of came into place. So,
Yeah. No, I honestly, when the IKF thing dropped, I thought the exact same thing. Why didn't we go get a
mhm,
bullpen guy? And then
mhm.
you kind of look into it. We are already at the 14. There's not an exceptional guy on the market that's really worth going to get, risking a guy on waivers or optioning down someone who's had a good year. It's
IKF too, and I know we talked about this yesterday, or sorry, on Monday. Talk about a risk-free move that just ups the floor depth level, right? Because he can
yeah,
play third, he can play second, he can play first. He has outfield reps. He even came out and said that he could put on the catching gear if they need to, which is
I didn't
something,
hear that.
which is, and he's got experience catching, very similar to Dalton Varsho, but you don't want Varsh back there. I mean, we've seen how injury prone he's been this year. You don't want to risk that. So if you've got a guy in IKF with two catchers in Kirky and Heineman who have had post-concussion problems this season, you never know when that could rear its ugly head. So to have that little bit of insular depth when it comes to so many positions, it's great. And if you hit a point where IKF just isn't getting it done, who cares? Put him back on waivers.
Yeah, there's no downside to
Especially being mad that he already knows this team. He knows this clubhouse. He's not disrupting anything. If anything, the guys are like, holy shit, you're back.
yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
Glad to get
and
you out of Pittsburgh.
another thing that shows that is how fast he was back in the lineup. What the turnaround was like 2 days,
Yeah.
1, 2 days he was back in the lineup. That just shows that the organization is comfortable throwing him in already, and that he's probably ready to do exactly what we need him to do, which is just play some defense, do the best he can,
Hmm.
batting. If he can get on, give us some opportunities to score him. I'm not looking for him to be an RBI machine, but if he can just get on base, put up good defensive numbers, that's more than enough.
He is another one of these guys in the lineup too who can put the ball in play. You know, contact is kind of the name of the game when you're a 2025 Blue Jay, and he fits into that strategy. He can lay down a bunt, he can get the small ball stuff done. He's good on the base paths. We saw his speed beating out that double play in the, I think it was first inning or second inning. Nonetheless, he fits in well with the chemistry and the build of this team. And again, you don't like him and he's bombing it and he just doesn't look good, they'll just release him. No risk.
I would love to hear the conversation from when he came into the clubhouse since they had that bench clearing moment a couple weeks ago. I wonder if he chirped anybody or walked up to any of his former teammates saying, "Hey, we didn't finish what we started."
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Told Tyler
I would
Heineman,
have
he's
loved to
like,
see.
buddy, Tommy Pham, he's still working out thinking about you. Just like shadow boxing. Heineman, I'll get him.
He brings like an envelope that says to Heineman from fam on
Yeah,
it.
from Pham. It's like, yeah. All right, moving along here. This one is still with Patreon, SCTI. He goes upcoming free agent center fielders. Some good options that would allow Varsho to move to left field and Springer, Santander to split time in right field DH. So Grisham and Duran would be nice. Duran is a legit lead off, allows you to go Duran Bichette, question mark, because obviously Bichette's a free agent, so we don't know. Vladdy, Santi, Springer, Kirk, Varsho. I know that you've got the UFAs for center fielders pulled up here. Now, this is, I like this. I like this from Ian from SCTI here. I think that we have seen that Varsho, despite being incredible in center field, his arm isn't what it used to be. I think on the stat line, he's the fourth percentile for arm. So he's guys are gonna run. You know, if Varsho gets a deep fly ball and the guy's at second base, he's going to take third. If there's a shallow fly ball and the guy's at third, he's going to try and take home and get that run. So the idea here from SCTI, you move him to left where there's a little bit less worry about needing to have that cannon. You know, like you can hide his arm a little bit better in left field and bringing in a center fielder if they don't do this from within. Obviously, Nathan Lucas can play center field. We know George Springer has, but they won't want to put George Springer back into center field at 36 years old. Not after how well he's done this season, being primarily DH right field, right? So don't mess with what's working. Trent Grisham, I don't know about Trent Grisham, but Gerard Duran is an interesting case, and he is a legit leadoff guy with speed.
I I would say my opinion of this is similar to the Schwarber situation of I feel like their priorities lie in signing Bo, fixing the rotation, like locking stuff down there. That seems to be more their priority.
They do have
And
Miles Straw another year.
that's exactly what I was gonna say is they already have Straw under contract. He's almost seemed like he's earned a spot to play center field, especially with the year he's had. So I could see them giving him a chance before.
Especially with how well Nathan Lucas has played, right? Because you could
Yeah.
kind of platoon those two if you wanted to in center field, and you could. It also gives you the option to bring in Miles Straw late as a defensive substitute if you wanted.
Yeah, and this all saves money to give to Bo.
Yes.
Um, but unless there's a really exceptional center fielder, um, I don't really see why they would they would make it a priority.
And they
And
still probably will move Dalton to left.
yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I also think there's a chance where if Varsho fixes his arm, don't know what that's going to
Yeah.
look like, But if he does get it back, he becomes the center fielder again.
And maybe, and that was the thing is, I think his arm strength was a 40 percentile. So he was always kind of a below average arm, but since this shoulder surgery, it has gone way down. And maybe there is a world where he can do some sort of strength exercises over the off season that can kind of get him back to a more serviceable arm in center field. And if that's the case, I think you're right, Matt, that he's the job is probably his. We'll see how
Um,
things play out. I would love to hear from you folks, the grounds crew. Drop your comments. Where are you at on Dalton Varsho in center field? Are you even concerned about his arm? Are people making too big of a deal out of this deficiency? And if you do think that there is a possibility of him moving to left, who do you see covering center field? Do they go the free agent route? Do they go out and get a guy like Duran or Grisham, or do they maybe Harrison Bader's out there? There's some options out there of guys who are defense first center fielders and are going to be a below average bat, but still, you know, major league worthy, if you will.
to add on everybody's stress for that question, Scott, you said last you saw Dalton Varsho's arm was in the 40th percentile
Before the surgery, yeah.
before the
I think
surgery.
it was fourth percentile now.
It's fifth
Fifth
percentile.
percentile. Okay, so
It's yeah, it
I was
is.
doing Dalton dirty, putting him in the fourth percentile. How could I do that?
You're a Dalton hater. Everybody's gonna come after you now.
That's right. Man, let's talk Dalton Varsho for a second. Actually, you know what? No, I don't want to get into it because there's another Dalton question here that's going to
We
lend to
can get
this
into
much
it
better.
at the next Dalton question.
Exactly. Final Patreon before we get to the public side of things here. This is from Mustard Tiger. He goes, these tight games are the uncomfortable part. Most of their wins during this cold streak are games they should win, but easily could have lost. It's hard on the digestion. I keep telling myself I'm going to take a week off baseball, but how can I? Yeah, September baseball, it is a collar tugging, anxiety inducing time of the year for us hardcores. And it is not easy to watch your team be so close in this race because right now the Blue Jays have a 2.5 lead on the division, and we just watched their 6.5 lead disappear pretty quick. So it does make you nervous when you know how little 2.5 games truly is in the grand scheme of things. That said, I would rather be first place in the division September 3rd than chasing first place September 3rd. The season ends on the 28th of September. I mean, we are down to it. I think there's 28 games remaining in the season.
I think it's closer to 20. I'm pretty sure I heard
Oh,
them
am
say on the
I?
broadcast yesterday it's 24 or 23, something like that.
Okay.
The other thing I'll add onto this is yes, incredibly stressful time of the year.
23 games left. You're right.
Look at that, I'm spot on.
You're spot on, buddy.
Um, yeah, it's an incredibly stressful time of the year, and it's nerve-wracking. It's all these different emotions, but one thing that you love about every sport is these are the emotions you crave throughout
Yes.
the whole year. You crave to have the stress, the anxiety. I'll bring up I'm a Sabres fan again, and when I'm in my office and the Leafs are in the playoffs and people are yelling and screaming and happy and
You're like, I
sad.
would give anything to switch spots with you.
Yeah, I would give anything to feel this once. That's how I feel about Blue Jays baseball, is the amount of times we've wanted to be in this uncomfortable situation. Now it's here. Yes, we don't like it, but at the same time, you're thinking, this is everything I've wanted.
Try your best to enjoy it because it is really what we all want is meaningful baseball in September, and we have it right now. Moving on to the public side, thank you so much, Patreon. Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram is how you get a hold of us. Feel free to DM or just tweet at us. On Twitter, it's at Walk Off Podcast. Blue Sky, The Walk Off Podcast. Instagram, The Walk Off Podcast. Jason wrote in on X on Twitter. He goes, hey, Walk Off. Thanks for all the content. No problem. Do you guys think Dalton Varsho's home runs all come in garbage time? My buddy is convinced he only produces when it doesn't matter, but I so disagree with him. Is there numbers to prove him wrong?
I mean, there's not really a clutch metric
Hmm.
we can look at. I think there is. I just have no idea where to find it. Um,
Grounds crew, do a little homework here for us.
yeah.
How do we find out if Dalton Varsho's home runs are garbage time or not? Now, I will argue this with just some logic here to start with. Let's just take a look at the last couple games. Dalton Varsho with a dinger yesterday, and they needed it. Dalton Varsho with a dinger 2 days ago to go up 4-2 before the team completely imploded in the bottom of the ninth and gave the win up. They needed it, right? I think any home run that's within that save area. So if you're 3 runs, if it's giving you that 3 runs, I wouldn't really call it garbage time. And I know maybe Jason's buddy here is talking about the Colorado series where Dalton hit 3 of them. And I mean, we all know that the Colorado series, I think they, what was it, 64 hits or something like that. And they outscored them
Yeah. You could argue
40
that
to 6. Yeah.
you could argue that everyone's home runs was garbage time there.
Hmm.
I know I said it in the Patreon was yes, he's not hitting the big home runs in the big moments, but he's padding the leads. And he's giving us run support with a bullpen that much needs it.
Hmm.
And I wouldn't call those garbage time at all. I would call those extremely important. And it it appears garbage time because it appears the Jays are, oh, they're up 3, they're up 2, they're winning this game. But
Look at
it's
yesterday.
baseball. Yeah.
8-1 lead. Thank God they hit some in garbage time. Like,
Yeah. It it all changes. It all changes in the blink of an eye.
so anyone who is a little bit more savvy when it comes to fan graphs or baseball savant and can actually pinpoint if there is the clutchness of his home runs. I actually took a look this morning too, buddy, and I was just like, I don't know, like how do you filter out when a home run matters or not? It's tough to even quantify that, but
It'd be like a save. I feel
mhm.
like if we wanted to call it like a big clutch home run, it would almost be like a save situation where I know a save situation is 3 runs. I'm gonna call it 2 runs, where that plus or minus 2 runs is probably where you would find clutch,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
Dalton Varsho also 17 home runs in 51 games. I mean, he is on pace in a 162 season to hit 50 dingers. And it was a small sample size for a while, and that sample size continues to grow. I still truly believe Dalton Varsho at the end of this season is going to have over 20 home runs, which is absolutely wild for a man who is going to play far less than half a season.
Oh, yeah, this is a miracle.
This is the best version of Dalton Varsho at the plate we have ever seen.
And something I know I've brought up in the past that always amazes me is Varsho's swing looks so simple, and he looks like a guy who's half the size of Vladdy, but has the simple swing and all the same power. It it's mind-blowing.
Hmm.
And just the fact that he already has 17 homers in a 50 game span, that's it shows his level of power, and it definitely shows his value on the team, even in a smaller sample size.
And it's going to be interesting to see how this batting order lines up come playoff time because Dalton Varsho in the 2 hole, we may see it a little bit depending on the pitcher. But I think splitting up Springer and Vladdy with a lefty bat with some power, not a bad thing considering how contact heavy this team is.
My one rebuttal,
Yes, push back, Matt.
my one rebuttal to Varsho in the two is he does have 57 strikeouts, and only 15 walks. Not a great number.
No,
Um, so my
he's
only
pretty much the
concern,
only guy on this team that strikes out.
yeah, he's the strikeout guy on the team. So that would probably be my only concern is I wouldn't want to waste an out. I'm not saying Varsho's a guaranteed out,
No, of course not.
but I would almost put someone with a higher contact rate, better OPS, higher batting average in the two to
Well,
kind of,
you and John Schneider are in agreement here, my friend, because that's basically the way the Blue Jays have been constructing this lineup to date, right? Is that they've
yeah.
kind of been, is it Nathan Lucas? Is it Addison Barger? Is it Ernie Clement? I mean, the number of guys they've had in the two hole is actually kind of wild for
And
this
I like
season.
it. I like it a lot. I like having
Going
that
with the
contact guy.
matchups.
The contact guy in the two hole, I'm not complaining at all. You got your power 3-4. That's pretty classic baseball,
Hmm.
which I'm not complaining. I would put Varsho maybe 4 or 5, depending on depending on how everybody's playing at the time too.
Hmm.
Kirk could just start mashing come playoffs. He could slot in the 4. Bo could move from 4 to 5 or wherever he could be slumping, go
Yeah.
down, go up, anything. There's so much still in play.
So moving on to Blue Sky, this is from Toronto Jeff. He goes, have pitching injuries even gone down now that no starters go the distance? Feels like no, but I don't have the data. So I did try and find some data on this, and it was a little, it's muddy. Listen, the truth is when it comes to arm injuries is that it's a little bit of an epidemic in Major League Baseball. If you get a chance and you're interested in the subject, by the way, Jeff Passan, analyst, one of the top guys in all of baseball, wrote a book called The Arm, where he really deep dives into Tommy John surgery, the process, the rehabbing of it all. He goes to Japan and looks into arm injuries in Japan. He looks into the high schools and how Tommy Johns are being done younger and younger. And it is fascinating. The truth is, they still don't really know how to prevent arm injuries. And one of the biggest problems right now is that there are kind of two camps. One camp that believes one of the reasons that arm injuries have increased is that there's underusage. That throwing more
Really?
does kind of strengthen things. But here is why there's the other camp. The other camp is analytically driven, loves velo and loves spin. High spin rates is one of the most wear and tear on an arm you can put on it. High velo, also one of the highest strains you can put on an arm. And the truth of the matter is, Matt, when you look at who gets paid, who's getting these big contracts, it's guys with velo, it's guys with nasty spin. And so, yeah, it's easy to be like, why don't we have a Greg Maddux? Well, because Greg Maddux would probably be in AAA being told, bro, we got to get some velo training in you and get that fastball pumping more. Right. So, like, and this is not synonymous with pitching. This is kind of something that if you look across the game of baseball is happening. The places where guys are getting paid is what baseball players concentrate on. Right? It's why for so long there were only three true outcomes: walk, strikeout, home run, because you got paid to hit dingers. And we have seen that kind of shift away a little bit as they made the bases bigger, started to put more emphasis on stolen bases, started to put more emphasis on extra base hits, doubles. And until we really see a similar kind of shift in pitching, I don't think that there's anything that can happen except just cross your fingers and hope that you have a guy like Jose Barrios that just doesn't get injured. Knock on knock on wood.
Also, I don't know why my my computer this, but um, the rate for Tommy John surgery, I just looked it up quickly.
Mhm.
Um, the rate for Tommy John surgery in 2016 was 27.4%.
Wow.
The latest it has here is 2023, up to 35.3%. So it's increasing. That's about 10% in 7 years, roughly.
And I
We
mean,
could
it's
almost
not
say that
it's
that's
not crazy science, Matt, right? Like just look at how many guys threw 103 miles an hour in 2016 and how many guys throw 103 miles an hour now, 9 years later.
yeah,
There
it's
was
exactly what you
nobody
said.
throwing. There was Aroldis Chapman throwing 103 and that's it.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. When velo and spin rate are up, and that's the exact trajectory that the MLB is going is velo spin rate,
Mhm.
and Tommy John's going to be more and more prevalent.
Last one before we get to YouTube here. This is from Moneyball716. Reached out on Instagram. Hey guys, was watching Jays Talk Plus with Blake Murphy and Chris Black, and Baseball Town got a mention. So awesome. Wish I could make the one tomorrow. I have been to two of them and thoroughly enjoyed both. So yeah, it was actually kind of cool. If you go to my Instagram, I did get it recorded there, so it's the walk off, and you can check it out. But yeah, Blake Murphy actually took 30 seconds to talk about Baseball Town and Left Field Brewing, and it was pretty cool to see Chris Black, obviously one of the guests for tomorrow. And we've got Jonah Birnbaum from The Score. Nick from Blue Jays Today is coming down. It is going to be a very fun show. Last regular season Baseball Town of the year. Left Field Brewing in Liberty Village, 8:30 start time. If you are in Toronto and you want to win yourself two tickets to Baseball Town, all you have to do is go to our X or Instagram or Blue Sky, DM us that you want to go tomorrow. I will put you in a draw and I will reach out to the winner at the end of the day here. So, again, feel free to DM us. You want to come experience a baseball town. And if you just want to buy tickets, that's awesome too. You don't need to worry about a contest. Those are going to be in the description and in the comment section. All right, going to YouTube. This is from last mailbags edition where we were talking about playoff starters. And this is from Shane Turner. So he goes starting rotation for playoffs. Number one, Bieber, if he's even 90% of what we saw versus Florida. Number two, Scherzer, if his thumb can hold up another 2 months. Three, Gosman goes in the number one or number two spot based on health or poor performance. So I like that he's kind of like, listen, I've got Bieber and Scherzer 1, 2, but Gauzy slots in either of those spots if either of those two guys have any sort of bumps in the road or problems. And then he goes number four, Barrios if necessary, Lauer and Bassett to the pen. Lauer can come in if any starter gives up 3 earned runs in the first few innings. But for the love of God, please don't have a planned Kikuchi spot where Lauer comes in during the fourth, regardless of how Barrios is pitching.
First off, I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
Um, I do, however, if let's say that this is the 1, 2, 3, I will say I could almost guarantee Lauer um will be on standby for both Bieber's start and Scherzer's start. I think
Mhm.
especially Scherzer's start, he's gonna be on standby saying if stuff starts to slide early, you might be going in. So be ready.
I think you're onto something, Matt, with Max Scherzer, especially with how many home runs he's given up this year. He has looked really good, but he's given up the most long balls of his career. So, does he keep the ball in the park? If so, you ride it out. You ride it out with the veteran who's been there, done that, been in big leverage situations before, and can handle the pressure. But if he starts to get hit and the ball starts to leave the park, you know how these playoff series work, especially out of the gate, right? They're not 7 game series. They get short and you can really bury yourself fast if you get in too deep. So I think you're onto something. I think that there's a short leash on Scherzer as long as he's keeping the ball in the park. I think they're going to let him ride. And if he starts to give up dingers, I think you're right. I think Eric Lauer comes in to uh, to
And
rescue him.
to build on your home run number there, I have it up. Through 70 innings this year, he's given up 15 homers. His career high ever, so prime Max Scherzer, was Washington 2016. He gave up 31 over 228 innings. So if we double it and say he's going to do 140 innings this year, which is not
Mhm.
happening, um, he would be past his career high already. So
Right.
his pace in terms of the home run is definitely the highest it's ever been in his career. And yeah, I feel like especially in the playoffs, home runs are going to be the killer.
Yes. Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. So I think that there'll be a short leash when it comes to Max Scherzer. And that said, if he's dealing long leash, right? Like they
Yeah,
will ride Max out. Yeah.
it's super could go either way at any given moment. But I definitely feel like Lauer especially. Um, Even Bassett, I don't know if you'd put Bassett Scherzer same day. Maybe Bassett would be the long guy for the Bieber start.
Hmm.
Who knows? But definitely Lauer on the Scherzer day is gonna be told to be ready, stand by in case something goes south
This
fast.
playoff roster is going to be so interesting, and it's going to be really cool to see how they use all these pitchers because John Schneider is going to have all sorts of different tools in his belt that he's not used to having because it's going to be a short starting staff. So,
Can I add something? I'm adding a
yeah.
question to mailbag
Yeah.
quickly because we're on the topic of bullpens and playoffs. Ryan Barucki, if he's dealing, is he going to be another long man for us out of the pen come playoffs?
I don't think so. And I say that because I do think that Eric Lauer and Chris Bassett are going to be given playoff spots ahead of him and should be. And I think with Eric Lauer being a lefty and Baraki being a lefty, I would be very surprised. And in fact, I'll be honest, dude, I'd be very surprised if Ryan Baraki's on this team still by the end of September. But you never know, right? If he's getting it done and he's getting outs, anything's possible. And he has been under the wire with being added in that September 1st area, right? So maybe he could be on the
And
playoff roster.
I 100% agree. I just I guess for my in my opinion, which is why I'm asking the question, it's super weird that I don't think it's weird that we picked him up, but I think it's weird he's back on the roster so fast.
Yeah.
It's it's making me question like what they're thinking in terms of
I
playoffs,
think
long man.
honestly, Matt, it's that Mason Fluharty is not available for another, I think it's 3 days before they can recall him. They just sent Easton Lucas, another lefty, down. So right now, the only lefty in the pen is Brandon Little, who has just been struggling mightily to find the strike zone. And maybe they don't want to lean on him quite as heavily. And then there's Eric Lauer, who is more in that long man spot, and they more want to give him innings than bring him in high leverage spurts of 1 inning spots, right? So we'll see how it all plays out, but I really do think that right now Ryan Baraki is more of a stopgap.
Yeah. And that's also what my opinion was, but just how it's all changing and how the bullpen's been,
Hmm.
there's so many different opinions.
Grounds crew, drop your comments. Where are you at on Ryan Baraki? Is he a nothing burger or is there more to that move? Moving on, sticking with YouTube, last couple questions here. Again, thanks to everyone for all the interaction. Really appreciate it. This is from Boom Must Die. He goes, my playoff rotation is opposition lineup dependent. Gosman is much better against lefties than righties. His splitter glove side is an A or a B pitch. Arm side, his splitter is a C, maybe even a D. If they start against the Tigers or Yankees or maybe the Red Sox, Gosman can be a game 1 or 2 guy. Astros, he would be my game 3 starter. Scherzer is the opposite of that. He is the game 1 starter against the Astros, no question. Fourth starter can be Bassett, Barrios, or Lauer, whoever looks the best at the end of the year. We may be getting ahead of ourselves on Bieber, and he may prove to be a non factor when we approach the playoffs. I doubt Bieber will work his way out of a playoff rotation, but who knows? I was a big Bieber booster. There was last offseason. I wanted the Jays to give Bieber a 5-year, one team optimum option year, and then he's got his numbers down here. Basically, he's saying like 6 years, 140, 5 years, 115. Yeah, I mean, I actually think that Boom Must Die is onto something here. I think that this is probably the way that the Blue Jays play it. They are a very khakis heavy organization, and they are most likely just going to play the matchup. And you know what? He made a very good point there about how much better Gosman is against lefties. And if it's a lefty heavy lineup, I think we could see Gosman in game 1. If it's a righty heavy lineup, I think we could see Max Scherzer, right? So it's really going to be dependent on who they're playing and the matchup. And that's probably the way it should go.
Yeah, I don't disagree with him at all. And historically, that's always what the Blue Jays have done is play the matchup.
Hmm.
So I would say he's spot on with thinking like the Blue Jays organization.
I mean, we all remember when the Blue Jays in 2020 went out and their big signing was Hyun-Jin Ryu, and they finally had an ace at the top of that lineup, and then they made the playoffs in the shortened 2020 season, playing their divisional foe, the Tampa Bay Rays, and they put Matt Schumacher in game 1 instead of Hyun-Jin Ryu because of the matchup. So I think that that's probably the way they're going to do it again. Last question, comment of mailbag. This is from Scott Moreau. He goes, unfortunately for the Jays, their bullpen is struggling at the worst time. Hoffman just absolutely blew up again. This was a week ago, by the way.
I
I don't,
figured.
I don't care what anyone says. He's not a closer. If one thing It's one thing to blow a 1-run lead. It's another to leave the mound after giving up 4 runs. Little isn't getting it done. Varland has been disappointment and Rodriguez is looking tired. I just don't see how we are going to compete in the playoffs with this bullpen. Now it looks like Garcia won't be back. I am not optimistic. So, to start with, plenty of reasons why Scott is anxious about the bullpen. They have not been good in the last month. I will say this. You need two. You need two dominant back end of the bullpen guys. And yesterday was very encouraging watching Jeff Hoffman. He was a guy who, we talked about this on MLB Mondays. If his slider, velo wise, is under 87 miles an hour, and his fastball is under 97 miles an hour, he gets hit hard and he gives up home run. And what happens is he winds up lowering his arm slot a little. And I think that has something to do with it. And if you look at the numbers, the amount of usage kind of correlates with when his arm slot drops. Yesterday, if you were paying attention to the velo, his slider was as crisp as I've seen it in a long time. He was getting big time swings and getting some big time strikes. And yes, sitting right in that 87, 88 mile an hour, right where you need it to be. Fastball, 97. Every single one of them was 97 plus. And he dominated. Outside of the little bloop single he gave up there, he was lights out. Louis Varland looked the best he has in a Blue Jays uniform, period. If those two guys can find it in September, and then you're just going off matchups, Braden Fisher has looked really, really good in AAA right now with the Bisons. Maybe he's a guy who's back in this bullpen, and you can kind of go on very similar to what Boom Must Die was saying with starters. Go on the matchups to get yourself to Varland and Hoffman. I know
Yeah,
that Brendan Little has struggled with control, and so has Sir Anthony Dominguez for that matter. but maybe they find it as well. Again, you need two guys. We watched Philadelphia ride Dominguez and Hoffman in the past. We've watched other teams really like lean into their closer and maybe even overuse a couple guys in the playoffs who are hot. And so, yeah, if the playoffs started right now, the Blue Jays would be in a rough spot. There is time to kind of get things right. It's a long season. And I said this on the Blue Jays Today stream yesterday. April, June, July bullpens are in there, right? Like they were dominant those 3 months. That this is the same staff. I know that the whiff rate is down. I know that teams have kind of figured out that if they just don't swing, a lot of these guys aren't hitting the strike zone, but maybe a slight adjustment and they're right back where you want them to be. I mean, again, I'm going to try and remain optimistic because this team is leading the AL East. They're right close to the top of the AL and currently are in a bye situation where they would go right to the division series. So
Yeah,
my glass is half full.
t mine too. To build on what you were saying, yesterday looked like Hoffman and Varland both turned a corner
Hmm.
for the better. They pitched fantastic. The velo was there. And every pitcher in this bullpen can get it done, has proven they can get it done. They all have huge upsides. And what we're hoping for is come September, or well, not September, come postseason, they find that upside and they just kick it into that gear.
Hmm.
And truly, because playoffs is such a different animal than regular season, their mindset might be, yep, this is time. I'm gonna throw harder. I'm gonna hit my spots better. I'm really gonna dial in. And I definitely think we're gonna see that come playoffs.
Sure hope so, anyways. Thank you so much, everyone, for all of your questions and comments. Just a reminder if you want to win a couple tickets to Baseball Town, DM our Instagram, our Blue Sky, or our Twitter account. I will do the draw at the end of the night. So if you're watching this, even after the Blue Jays game, give me a shout, reach out. Who knows? Maybe there's 4 tickets up for grabs. I know that left field has given me 6. So we'll see how I distribute these. But absolutely, if you want to come to Baseball Town and win a couple tickets, be in touch. Otherwise, baseball is your discount code, saves you $5 on tickets, gets you in for $20. Jonah Birnbaum of The Score, Chris Black of Sportsnet. We got Nick from Blue Jays today. It's going to be a heck of a show and the final regular season Baseball Town of the year. On that, thank you so much, everybody, for following along. Could not run the channel without all of you. Please hit the like button and subscribe. Appreciate everyone. And we will see you Friday for the Friday show. Cheers.